Welcome to Introduction to Whitebox Learning Engineering, Saving Your Dragster. So right now we have done videos on setting up the blank, upper profile, lower profile, and top profile. You've also got a little bit look at what the refined solid looks like. So as of right now, we have not saved anything, so you have not turned off the program or anything like that, because if you have, you've lost everything you've done. So make sure that you are going to save it. This is the saving process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my refined solid again. Well, actually, before I do that, I'm going to turn on my axles just so you can see my axles floating freely in space here. And then I'm going to turn on my refined solid just so you can see the car. It's still the same car that we had before. Okay, so it's still there, still in the aspect of what we wanted it, and that's what we're looking at. Now, before we save, we got to make sure we get some other features corrected on the car. So the first thing I want to do is we have our axles here, but we need to adjust the axles. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn the wrench onto the axle, and the tree for the front axle is going to fall out here. And again, we're going to leave the axle at steel because that's what we use in class, but the length is going to change for what we want. And we want the length of this axle to be 53 millimeters. Okay, 53 millimeters. And then we're going to apply that, and we're going to click on done. So we basically just added 3 millimeters to the length of that axle. We are going to do the same thing to the rear axle. So we're going to go to rear axle and turn on the wrench, leave that steel, and we're going to also make this one 53 millimeters and apply that and done that. And we've added 3 millimeters to the length of that one. If you do not change your axles, then your car will be out of spec when you add the tires to it. And that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to add the wheels, the front wheel and the rear wheel. So we're going to start with the front wheel right now. So I'm going to turn my eyeball on the front wheel just so you see what shows up here. Okay, that's a big fat wheel. That's not what we normally want in our front wheel. And just to compare, this is our rear wheel. I'm going to turn that eyeball on too so you can see the rear wheel. That's the rear wheel. Notice how they look alike. The program automatically defaults to the same wheel for both. That's not what we want. So we're going to change this. So we're going to start with the front wheel, and we're going to turn on the wrench. Again, we're going to get our tree for our front wheel. And this is what we're going to change. We only have one thing we can change in here, is the type of wheel. And right now it is defaulted to nitro, and that's this wheel right here. I'm going to click on the arrow, and then we have a variety of wheels. And in one of the earlier videos, I showed you these wheels in the research video. And I told you the wheels we're going to use are the WDR wheels. And if you look at them, one is a WDR RW1 and a WDR FW1. Hopefully it makes sense to you that the F means front and the R means rear. So we're going to put a front wheel, WDR FW1 or front wheel on, and you'll notice when I click this how this wheel is going to change. There, that's a much more appropriate wheel for what we are going to work with in our car, and that's exactly the type of wheel that we use in the actual block. So we're going to apply that, and we're going to done that. Now this wheel looks similar to the wheel that we use in our dragster, but it isn't the exact one. So we're going to also turn our wrench on for our rear wheel, and we're going to change that one. Again, defaulted to the nitro, and we're going to go with the rear wheel version of the WDR, the RW1. I click on that, you'll notice it's going to change to a different looking wheel also. Okay, that's what we want, and we're going to apply that and done that. The reason why I have you putting the wheels on now is because after saving, you are going to enter a competition, and you might want to have the right wheels when you race your classmates. So the next step in saving is going to be this process. We're going to go to File, and we are going to save. Okay, so we're going to click on the word save, and then it's going to say enter a concept name. I don't care what you name it, make it school appropriate name, but name it something that you'll recognize as your car. You know, some people will name it with their name, or they'll have some. I've found some really interesting names of cars and some unique names of cars. So I'm just going to name this one. I don't know. Well, let's see here. I got to there. Hey, look at that. Now I'm going to name this one Billy Bob. Okay, so this is Billy Bob. I don't, I'm just naming it to name it. Now, as you do this, Billy Bob is going to be the name of your concept. You will be able to make changes to this concept throughout the whole time, and the name will still say Billy Bob. It'll just be a different version of Billy Bob. So what we're going to do is you're going to save and enter competition. We also have a save a working copy. What a save a working copy does, it allows you to go back and make adjustments without entering a car into a competition. But right now, we're going to go save and enter competition. And I'm going to click on that. And it's going to go down in the lower right-hand corner. You didn't see because of my toolbar down here, but it actually said it was saving. So now it said saved. And we can verify it by going File and go Open. And then there's Billy Bob. And it tells you when it was saved. Okay, so now it's opened. So now you have saved your car, whatever name you named it and stuff like that. Now you can go enter a competition. One thing I want to show you, however, is the fact that if, let's say I want to make a change to this car. So I'm going to go to upper profile. I'm going to turn on upper profile and turn on the thing. Now I'll tell you right now, if you go start modifying, my suggestion, it makes life a lot easier for you if you turn off your wheels and you turn off your refined solid so you can see what you want to see. And I'm going to put the lower profile on so I can see that. And let's say I want to make a little adjustment over here, and I wanted to do this a little bit over here and something like that over here. Now I can apply done. Okay, and if I want to take a look at it, I can go back and look at the refined solid. Okay, that's what it looks like now. It doesn't look a whole lot different than what I did, but now I've made changes, so I want to save this again. And right now it says, I'm currently working on Billy Bob. So when I click save, it's going to say, hey, this is Billy Bob. But now it's going to say, I'm going to save and enter competition. And if I open it up and I go to save or file open, and I open Billy Bob, it's going to tell me I have a revision 1, which is the first one I saved, and revision 2, which is the one I just saved. Okay, so it always tells me, hey, I've got multiple versions of the same car. This is where you got to keep track of now what car is your best car. Is it revision 1? Is it revision 2? Is it revision 23, 48, whatever revision it is? Or maybe it's not Billy Bob. Maybe your best car is Peggy Sue, or maybe it's Billie Jean. I don't know. It could be any number of cars or revisions and stuff. Just you have to understand which one is going to be your best car. The only way you're going to figure out which one is going to be your best car is when we talk about the competition. So with that, I thank you for watching. Please proceed with your next steps as assigned by your instructor.